Guys, you're looking at amazing images, and these are not normal. This is a gigantic iceberg, megatons, millions of years old, just off the coast of Greenland, off the west coast at an area called Illicet. And it was moving from right to left. Then it suddenly stops, and you're going to start to see it crack and break apart and roll completely over. The thing about it, you're looking at 350 foot of ice above the surface and 750 to 900 feet below it. Sometimes up to 90% of an iceberg is submerged, but the waters are too warm there. We've been watching them on Greenland and the North Pole, and it started melting the bottom of this gigantic ice continent. We're going to get into detail about it, guys. Hang in there. Very interesting, and it perfectly shows what's happening to our planet. Now let's take a look exactly where we're at here. And this is, again, Illicet Bay. This is in Greenland. And again, here's the U.S. Let's pull this up, guys. Here's where the iceberg that we're going to watch is located. And what I've got this set on is sea surface temperature right there. And it's 46.7 degrees, guys. You know, the icebergs are much colder than that, of course. And seawater that freezes is about 28.8 degrees, something in that range, not the 32 that you see freeze at freshwater temperatures. But this was floating in this area, again, 46.7 degrees. And let's look at the sea surface temperature anomalies. How far above normal is that area? And let's move the cursor right inside the bay here, guys. And you've got 9.8 degrees Fahrenheit above normal. These are record temps. We've been watching it for the last couple of months, all the way from the North Pole to the South Pole. And now we're starting to see the real-time effects. Again, let me just back this up a moment. And guys, this is critical. Look at the heat surrounding our polar ice cap, all the way around from the Russian rivers and bays to record high temperatures and record depletion of the ice caps. And looking at going back to sea surface temperature, going back to the sea surface temperature, you can see the reduction of the sea ice. If it's white, it's ice, but this should be much larger, guys. And it's starting to see cracks, and it's starting to see waves underneath the ice caps about 15 to 16 foot deep. The buoys are indicating it, and that's lifting the ice up and breaking apart. But the record temperatures is what's causing all of this, from the droughts in the desert southwest to the record temperatures at the Antarctic on the opposite side of the planet. And let's take a look at the video and watch the event. Now, the size of this thing is very large. You're looking at about 250 to 300 foot, or 75 to 90 meters above the water, and about 700 to 900 feet below the water, 210 to 270 meters. What's happening is that it's too warm and the bottoms are melting. A lot of times these big ones will just slowly melt as they move out of the bay there at Illicet. But this one did not have time to melt fully. The warmer waters below it, guys, came in, started melting it, and that made it top heavy. Watch what happens. Again, this is a cam outside the Illicet Bay. We're looking west out of the Greenland Peninsula. Check this out. Now, you're going to see the water line there at the very edge of just above the surface of the water. That's going to start to move upward. And when you do see that, guys, you're going to start to see very blue ice. That blue ice is ancient. It's been there so long that the compression of the white ice on the top has pushed all the air bubbles out of it, leaving it that blue. But you're going to start to see cracks. Now, what's happening is a lot of this was supported by floating in the water, but now that it's not, gravity is taking over. Check this out, guys. This thing's going to change quickly. They were watching it move, then it slowed down. I'm not sure if it caught something else, but quickly started to rotate. And what you're going to see is like a boat that's launched sideways, one of the big ships. It sits there and rocks back and forth for a while. Look at this. But this is an ice continent melting away. Again, the bottom warmer waters, we were looking at them much warmer than it should have been, was eating at the bottom, allowing it to flip over. Look at this. We'll play it through. But again, your blue ice line there has been underwater for a very long time, under high compression. you're going to start to see cracks form throughout this region. Here, check this out. Watch this area, guys, and all through it. It just, again, gravity takes over. Look at this. It almost looks like AI, but it's not. You'll start to see, as some of the heavier sections collapse, guys, how the water changes, and eventually will start to splash over this rock outlet here at Illicit Bay. Look at that, and look at the coloration at the top. That's some type of dust. Either it would be volcanic ash or forest fire smoke. And they found that before by drilling through ice cores. Looks like a dinosaur back rolling over, doesn't it? Look at the eruption here. They were concerned that this could give the village there some problems, but so far nothing's been reported. No one was harmed. No boats were harmed. And that's, again, that's the latest reports that I can find out about it. But as it rolls back over, again, notice this top. And there's hundreds and hundreds of birds flying around. I don't know if they were displaced from the top or they're just flying from the shore. It's hard to tell. But you can see the lines and the cracks start to form. Check this out. Think about the weight of this. Now, it's not going to make the ocean rise because it's a floating iceberg. If it was a glacier sliding off a rock or the side of a mountain, it would raise it. But it's the same principle as putting ice cubes in a glass of water. They can melt, but the water doesn't rise. Why? Because the weight is already accounted for in the ocean height. It's just balancing out. But look at this as it rolls, guys, back and forth. And it's amazing to see that much energy. I actually expected larger waves, but again, this is where it gets interesting. Right at this part, the entire shelf starts to break off and the glacier starts to split in half. Notice that section there? Watch this. It's going to break here. The weight is too tremendous. Look at this. Like a ship going down. This is the very bottom sections of it. It's been there forever. Wow. Amazing, isn't it? But I wanted to show you this, and this is from Afar TV. It's a webcam set there to watch these type of things. But this is a perfect illustration, and this is just a couple of days old, of what is happening to our planet. Unbelievable. Look at that. And look at the ash at the top. And you can see the dust forming all through here like a haze or like a smog from this dust movement. And there's probably some bird debris up there and all of that, but a lot of it reminds me of volcanic ash. Either that or a combination of that and wildfire smoke. And we've seen a lot of that lately. But this could be built up over years and years. And when you have a darker surface like this, the albedo effect takes over, guys, and that absorbs heat. Now, watch this thing start to move in the opposite direction. You can see the waves and the ice moving towards shore now. But I'm going to play it back one more time without the interruptions, just so you can grasp what we're seeing. And this is Ultra 4K. And again, you see the splashes there, but you're getting an idea of what is happening in real time in the Arctic. Now, I'm going to play this in fast motion. The iceberg is moving from the right to the left, looking west out of Greenland, and you're going to see it stop. I'm not sure if it runs into another iceberg there or one of the rocks that you're seeing on the edge, and here it starts to flip over. That may have alone stopped the motion as far as what they call calving. And look at this, cracks appearing, and your blue line of compressed ancient ice. This is what's happening to our planet. Again, it's amazing to see it in this perspective. Unreal. Here comes the first waves. You see the motion already starting to rock back and forth. The waves are changing. It's changing the water all the way around it into different eddies. And the amount of the breakage in this section right here is amazing. This is just before it starts to break completely in half. Look at the top falling off the other edge. This side again being exposed. All of that dust and trapped sediment, some of that sediment trapped below could have been there for millions of years. from previous forest fires or previous volcanic eruptions. We know they've happened. The ice cores show it. And you start to see the wave motions affect this inlet for the bay. Now watch this area here. Before the entire thing splits in half, you'll start to notice a few things. There it goes. Check right here. This is going to break apart that section, and it's going to cave in right there. It's just too much weight. And now you got a couple different icebergs there. And again, just to see this, guys, and to be fortunate enough to know boats were right there in the area. They were probably watching it very closely, and no damage on shore. And they were concerned about that if something happened, but so far, so good. And now it's interesting here, the iceberg, after it drops a lot of weight and it's rolling, the momentum seems to push it back from the direction it came from. Look at that. It distributed a lot of smaller icebergs, but now the movement of this massive megaton chunk of ice is moving in the opposite direction. Look at that. But guys, thank you for watching, and if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please take the time to do it and put a thumbs up. It helps us more than you realize. Be safe, everyone.